I probably have at least 500 games on Etsy, and many of them are bundles of games. So you can see how the possibilities become endless.
What's the one assumption about online marketplaces that's keeping most entrepreneurs from ever getting started? While everyone's fighting over the same crowded spaces, there's a corner of e-commerce where competition is surprisingly light and profits can be pretty high. Debbie Gartner discovered this after burning out from her previous online business and needing something completely different. And what she found challenged everything she thought she knew about selling online. If you're ready to discover why sometimes the best opportunities are hiding where you least expect them, class is in session with Debbie Gartner. Debbie, welcome to Millionaire University. Super excited to have you here today and share your business know-how with our listeners. Thanks for joining me.
You're welcome, and thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Of course. Okay, so tell us about what your current business is, what you do, and how you have found success on this crazy world of online business.
So I've been online for a while, since 2010, but I really found my passion is doing digital products on Etsy. So it started out as kind of a nice little side hustle, and I didn't think I'd really enjoy it because honestly, I'm not artistic, I'm not creative, but it's really worked and I really enjoy doing it and helping people.
Cool. So were you working any kind of full-time job at the same time and you just fell into this looking for more of the side hustle? And then how did you start learning and step into that space?
Okay, so if I skip back years ago, I have been online and made a lot of money through my blog. I had a whole lot of debt. I used my blog to get out of debt. But honestly, I had been doing it so long that I got sick of it and I didn't really like writing. And so I wanted to do something that was more energizing. Also, even though I had been very successful and got myself out of debt, it doesn't help us in life. And so much to my surprise, I had super dangerously high blood pressure. So I then had to work on a whole health journey to improve my diet, which I did. So when I was doing all of that, I wanted to do something more fun and simple. And so I just got into this. My goal was to make maybe $500 a month or something like that. But then it blossomed into something much more productive and much more enjoyable as well.
Yeah, cool. I think there's a lot of people listening who maybe are a little afraid to step into entrepreneurship and build any kind of business again. If you do that whole experience of burning yourself out and pushing yourself a little too hard, because it's fun. It's a fun game that we play with business and you want to see how hard you can push it. And we end up pushing ourselves in the process, which then creates a little bit of that hesitation of, should I do this again? So I love that you found an avenue that was a little less high stress, a lot more fun, a little more creative, where you could still do something to make money and surprisingly more than what you thought was possible in this space. So,
right.
That's amazing. I think it's good to hear there's always those options. It doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Right. And I still have my other businesses and still make money through that, but this is just in addition. So it has become my focus because it's the area that I probably enjoy the most.
Mm-hmm.
And it taps into my creative side. It's really funny because I am not a creative person. So I am a math science person, numbers oriented. But over time, I have learned how to be more creative and turn this whole thing into a learning endeavor. And that's made it more enjoyable and challenging for me.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be what I asked next. Like, I think people associate a lot of Etsy with creatives, people who want to do arts and crafts and sell handmade items. So for you, where did that even appeal come in? If you didn't consider yourself creative, what even led you down that path to say, I should try selling something on Etsy if that wasn't like innate for you?
Right. So I am not an artsy, craftsy sort of person. So I don't do anything handmade. I also did not want to have any inventory. I didn't want to deal with shipping, customer headaches, all that stuff. It just wasn't for me. And also I'm okay, but I have an autoimmune disease. So I just wanted to work at home and have flexibility. So that's what I did. So what I work on are digital products. So I just make them once and then they sell over and over. And I've worked in many areas because you can do digital products in so many things, but I really focused on games. I do some handprint crafts, which are really, really simple to do. And I do various things, but games is really my passion and what I really enjoy doing. Somewhere along the way, when I was doing this, after I've been doing it for maybe a year and a half, I had this flashback to high school, senior math class, and someone was asking me what I wanted to do. And I love doing games. So I subscribed to Games Magazine, and I knew some people that created like the New York Times crossword puzzle. I did those every day. And so I just said, even though it doesn't really exist, I would love to be a puzzle master, like some of these people like Will Shortz are now. But at the time, I don't think actually, maybe he had done some New York Times crossword puzzles. I can't really remember, but that's what I wanted to do. And now that's where I really found myself. So it's been fun.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I think that's good for people to hear that you might associate Etsy with a specific type of product, but it has expanded a lot over the years where there's a lot more opportunity to sell a variety of different things. So tell me how digital products, is that kind of a pretty dominant area actually now on Etsy? Do a lot of sellers have success in that arena versus selling the handmade, or do you see a pretty good blend of both? If they do listen and think, wait, I am creative, I like to make things, what do you think is kind of more popular?
What's more popular would probably be print on demand, as well as handmade. And that's one of the reasons I love digital, because it's not so competitive. So print on demand is insanely competitive. And it is so hard to break into those areas. Handmade was never an option for me because I don't do that. It doesn't tap into my strength. So it just wasn't an option. In digital, you can make your mark rather quickly and have a high probability of success versus something like print on demand, which you see talked about all the time on YouTube and places like that. And they make it sound so easy, but it is so not easy because there's so much competition. You need to spend a lot of money on ads. You need to create tons and tons of designs just to get a few that work. So you might be creating 100 products for every one that's successful. So that's just, for me, I wanted something much simpler, higher probability of success, and that I could build on and keep building on. So like I said before, you basically create it once and it sells over and over again. And then what I also found is once you create one template of whatever it is, a game, a handprint, man, people can do crafts and digital products. I just don't personally do that because that's not my strength. People can do all sorts of things, but once you do something and you make the first product, you've created a template for your second product. And then that product can turn into 20 to 30 more. So then all you're doing is updating some of the information depending on the target audience or the topic or niche that you're doing.
Where do you recommend people start to expand that and use the template to make more things? Do you want to wait until one product is successful, or is it a matter of testing a variety of different, kind of like testing hooks, right? Testing concepts. What was your experience with that?
Honestly, it's a combination. So at the beginning, people don't realize that you can't just do 1 or 2 or 10 products. You want to try to build up your store rather quickly to, I was told 20 or 30 products, but which took me a while to do because at the beginning you're not very fast, but then you gain speed after that. And so then you start to see, let's say after you do 20 or 30 products, what sells well and what can you make well and what ideas can you turn into other ideas. So I told you that I do a lot of games. So one example of a game would be a trivia game, right? I always love Trivial Pursuit, but you could do a trivia game for each holiday. So you could do one for Halloween, you could do one for Christmas, Thanksgiving, and then you go throughout the entire span of all the holidays for the year. And there's pretty much holidays every month of the year, except maybe August, which is not so great. But August is back to school. So you could do back to school games or things like that. And then you can go and say, what are the things that I'm interested in? I could do a trivia game on each of those. So I like astronomy. I haven't actually done a game on it, but I could create a game on astronomy. I like dogs. I like cats. I could do a game on those. I like TV shows. I like movies. And you don't want to use trademarks that are used, but you could do like a genre of movies. So I would not do When Harry Met Sally, but I might do rom-com movies. And then I can do it. I would not do Disney or anything like that because you'll get into major problems with both Etsy and Disney. So you don't want to do that. But any topic you can do. And then you can come up with another game. Like I could do, let's say, a match game and match, let's say it's Mother's Day. Could match famous mothers with the people that played them or something like that if I was doing movies. But the possibilities are endless. I probably at this point, believe it or not, I probably have at least 500 games on Etsy. And many of them are bundles of games too. So it might be several games a topic. So then I come up with a new game and then I can make it for each of those holidays, each of those interests, whatever they are. And you don't want to do the ones that I said, those just happen to be my interest. But let's say, I don't know, let's say travel was a real big interest. I could do one like a trivia game for each city. I don't know, just name a topic. You can just make a game about that. And do you know this and that sort of thing? You also can do the same games and categories, but for different age groups. So it might look different if I'm doing something for kindergartners versus if I'm doing something for third graders versus I'm doing something for middle schoolers or teenagers or newlyweds or about to get married or baby showers or seniors or grandmothers, like whatever the thing is. So you can see how the possibilities become endless.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I'm curious, just from a technical standpoint on your store, where you have about 500 games, are those all under one store for you, or do you have multiple stores for different like niches of products?
You could do it either way, but I personally prefer having one shop or one main shop. There's no need to do additional shops because on Etsy, as you probably heard, the SEO is really important, but the name of your shop is not in the URL. So it's not part of the SEO algorithm. So it's not relevant. But what is relevant is how well your shop is doing. So the reviews you get, the sales that you get. So you build much faster when it's all in the same store. It's also a heck of a lot easier to manage one store. And by the way, I do many different things that are completely unrelated to games, and they're all in the same store, and it works out fine. So I think having one, at least for digital products, having one store is all you need. And it actually generally works better. If I were to build a second store, I'd have a whole ramp up time period. So I don't have the energy for that. I can't do it. Yeah. I just want to simplify.
Yeah. So with SEO, where you are selling a variety of things, but even you have a whole bunch of games on there, are you optimizing and really hoping that your shop listings will come up when people are looking for games? Like you're optimizing it for that search or even just for the topic of the game? Like what's the balance with that of what you're optimizing for?
I'm optimizing for the occasion and or the target and or time of year. It's based on whatever the item is. So that's what I want to do. Etsy, you have your title and your tags. So between those, you're putting in who it's for, like what it is, who it's for, when it's used. And it's not that hard to do. Right. And I actually have a whole course on that. But I think a lot of people get intimidated by it and they think it's really hard. But honestly, it's not. If you understand the logic behind what works, then you can do your SEO in 5 to 10 minutes, which is what I do. I actually have a course on 10-minute SEO for Etsy. It's for digital products. People overcomplicate it, and it's really logical. It's really simple, and you just need to learn how to do it. And once you do a few of them, all the others then become essentially copy and paste and tweak. So if I did a game for Halloween, and then I have another set of games for Thanksgiving, I'm basically substituting the word Halloween for Thanksgiving. That sort of thing.
Got it. So not only do you have the template with the product itself, you have the template even with your listing, and you already have the majority of that optimized, and then you're just swapping out those terms, and it makes even the listing process so much quicker and simpler. That's cool. I love it.
Right. And same with the listing images too. So I have templates. So then all I'm basically doing is reusing the same template, and I take one game and then I take the PNGs for that and just swap it in. So I can create the listing images, which the first time take a bunch of time, but after that it takes, I don't know, 5 minutes maybe less.
Cool. Yeah. So you have these games, you have other categories of things you sell. Do you ever pair those together where it's like, hey, I'm going to make a game about dinosaurs, but I also have these other designs that tie in with dinosaurs, maybe like lesson plans for preschoolers or whatever. Are you able on Etsy to bundle some of those products together or to control what it recommends or pairs together?
Yeah, so a combination. So first of all, I sometimes will create a bundle myself that bundles the items together. Secondly, about a year ago, Etsy introduced a function where you can bundle the items together. So you can put up to 3 items together and give people a discount for essentially buying in bulk. So I do that. Also, in the listing images, I may say you may also want to get these matching items, and I literally show them there. Also in the description, you can create links in there. And then, so I might, like, let's say I have a holiday, let's say Halloween, I'll just use that example. And I have Halloween handprint crafts. I might also say, and if you have kids, you may also enjoy these Halloween crafts. So it's all for the occasion. I'm not going to put in there Thanksgiving handprints. That makes no sense. But giving them options for that same occasion, which in this case would be Halloween. So yeah, I do all of the above. And also I look at what Etsy recommends too. So I look at what they recommend for what other products people are buying for the same occasion. Because sometimes, like, you can learn so much by what they are recommending and what other items that they show. So then I might see another game, like another game I've done, and I recently did this, are left-right games where it might be like pass the prize. So then I just told you all those, I told you some of them, but the holidays for the year. So then I can take that left-right game template once I create the first one, and then do it for each of the different holidays. So I can do that for Halloween. I can do it for Christmas. I can do it for Groundhog's Day. I can go on and on and on. And then Etsy makes suggestions. And I think, oh, I could do that as well. Or I see what my customers have essentially bought of mine together. And then it sometimes triggers other ideas of what I could do in other holidays or other events or occasions or things like that.
Cool. So when you are becoming more profitable with Etsy, you have obviously lots and lots of products. You've been doing it for a while. For most people, is it going to be finding that one product that does well, or is it having a store full of enough things that it's just a little bit here, a little bit there, and it just adds up over time?
Yeah, it's the latter. So, I mean, yes, you do get a little bit of the 8 for 20, but it's definitely it's not that more products make the algorithm work better. It's that you will come up for more searches when people are looking for them. And then if they buy one, they are more likely to buy other of your products because you're bundling. So I told you that you can bundle 3 products together, right? But some people like buying singles. So then I may say, if you buy these 3 items together, you can get this for less. And I may have the bundle for the same occasions. Like I have a Halloween bundle. So I could also say, if you like this, get an even better value by getting the whole bundle. It's 75% off or whatever it is. So you just want to get them in, and then you want to get them to buy. So if they don't click, they're not going to buy, right? And if they buy, then you want them to buy more. And then you want to try to make them into repeat customers. So I've also been building an email list to do that. And so then I actually find that I have a lot of people coming back. Some of them, I recognize them. They'll leave reviews and they have their own little logo or their name, and they come back and they buy maybe 20 items over time. But I recognize the name again and again. It's really encouraging. So it's a matter of getting the system going and then keep building on.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just it's the more real estate you have, the more likely you're going to have people showing up at your house, right? Like you're going to be visible to a lot more people. And it also fine tunes your understanding, I'm sure, of the platform and how to create highly sellable products. The more that you're just testing the waters and practicing and mastering the whole SEO strategy even.
Yeah, the more you learn. So I just want to be clear. When I started this, I had no clue what I was doing. I also had no clue what would work. But now, 3 years later, I have more than 30,000 sales at this point. Keeps growing every day, right? And so now I'm able to come up with ideas much more easily when I'm not even trying to. If I'm driving, taking a shower, watching a video on YouTube that has nothing to do with anything. It's just like a fun video, or I'm watching a TV show and I see a commercial for whatever, or they're talking about something in the TV show. I'm like, oh, I could do a game on that. And these don't have to be games. Like you can do anything. You can do science. Like you should look into your previous life, what you did before, what you know. Like if you're a teacher, you have a huge advantage. And you can take different things that you've taught your students and for each of the grades that you worked on. If you're, let's say, a real estate agent, you can sell to real estate agents, like whatever it is that you've done. You can create signs too. So there's Teacher Appreciation Week and there's Employee Appreciation Week. Let's say you're a nurse or something. There's like Nurse Appreciation Week. And if you were a nurse, you know what nurses appreciate, right? You're not like me, who knows nothing about trying to sell a product to them. And there are people in HR that will come and look for this stuff and buy it because it entertains and engages their people. So whatever you've done before, or you're doing now, you can just be like, oh, what would be useful to me? I have done some spreadsheets on things. Like I was in a huge amount of debt, like over $200,000 worth of debt many years ago when I got out of that. So I've created some spreadsheets for that and printables for that, getting out of credit card debt. I mean, it doesn't matter if someone's only $5,000 in debt, it's still the same principle, right? And I told you that I went into the ER for high blood pressure, right? So I could do a chart for tracking your blood pressure. I could do one for diabetes. I mean, I don't have diabetes, but if I did, I would know what's relevant, or I could look stuff up online to figure out what's relevant to track. So you're not giving medical advice. You're just giving them something to help them in whatever their problem or their quest or their journey is to get there.
So with that being said, I love, you have that many different products. You've sold so many things. So many people can get hung up on like perfecting one listing or spending a ton of
Right.
time just trying to sell that one product, make the perfect design. For you, you're kind of at a point where it's like, let's just put it out there. How much do you pay attention to the analytics and the sales? Do you ever take listings down? Do you ever try and enhance something and say, we could do better on this. Let's try and push it out for more sales and optimize it even better. Or are you just like, okay,
Yeah.
on to the next?
All of the above. So I do try to get a lot out there. Right now, I can get a product created and listed in 1 hour. So it might take me half an hour to make it. And I'm talking games. So I've got to come up with the questions for the games. Then I have to make it look nice. And then I have to list it, create the listing images and get it all listed. But I can do all that in an hour, sometimes less. So there is that aspect. And then always pay attention to the analytics. So I use places like eRank or Insight Factory to look at the sales, because that is one of the biggest mistakes people make. They just make what they like and not what is in demand that others are buying. So I use those platforms to figure out what is selling well and what is selling well now, or what is selling well soon, or what sold well, let's call it 10 months ago, because that's going to happen again and again each year. So Halloween will be around every year. Okay. And what's good about a lot of the digital products is you don't have to worry so much about the fashion and the styles. I mean, you do want to be stylish, but it's not like I have to go and update those every year. Or if I want to, because what I did wasn't that good, I might look at, well, what did do well and how can I improve mine? And how can I do it in a way where I'm not copying others? So earlier today, I just worked on a bundle that I had sold a year ago, and I just added some more games and I refreshed the font, but I can do it. So when I change the font, it will change it on all the pages. So I'm just doing it once, like those sort of things. And then regarding stuff that isn't selling. So with Etsy, a listing is good for 4 months. And then after that, you have to pay another 20 cents. So if it hasn't sold after, let's say, 2 rounds, then unless it's seasonal, if I did a Halloween thing in December, I'm not expecting that to sell, right? But if I do that earlier and it doesn't sell in 2 cycles, or it's an evergreen product, then my product pretty much sucks. Okay. So it's not clear if it sucks because my design was bad or wasn't in demand, but I will let it go and fire. So I'm not paying that extra 20 cents. I mean, 20 cents is not a big deal, but I do want to have things that sell. Like that is a big deal. So I'm often going back and refreshing things and I'm creating new. And as I'm doing it, I'm learning and I'm looking at who does better than me. But when I do that, I try to often look not in the same exact niche or same exact thing, because I don't want to be copying anyone. I look to other categories or other occasions, and then how can I reapply that?
Yeah, I love that. It's just so much clarity in action where, like I mentioned, a lot of people will get hung up on, okay, I have to wait till I found the right products, or I've got to think about what's selling today instead of forward thinking and just putting things out there so that you can refine it over time and not making it so absolute. And that applies across the board to all types of businesses. We can spend so much time in analysis paralysis and just putting it out there, getting actual data, not just your mind data that you're making up where you're like, oh my gosh, this probably sucks. This is ugly. Nobody's going to buy this. Let's see. Maybe it is. Maybe it is awful. Maybe nobody will buy it, or maybe people will love it and you will be shocked.
Right.
So,
right. And sometimes I'm shocked by the stupidest games that sell. I mean, I just sometimes do stuff randomly. I'm like, oh, who knew? Like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, that's not interesting to me, but it's apparently interesting to other people. And sometimes with the games, making them easier is better, because people think, oh, when I get the right answer, I feel really smart. I know stuff, and it gives people the encouragement to do more. But you are so right. Like people use that as an excuse for inaction. And it is furthest from the truth. And I found the same exact thing in blogging. Just put it out there, get it out there. And not only that, you can improve it and you can build on it later. So I would often write a blog post and then I'd go back 3 months later and then add in, let's say, 2 more paragraphs. It's the same thing with the games. I can add in 2 more games or in a bundle or improve things. But you got to take these little baby steps and just do it. I mean, Nike's right? So, but that is the key, is to take action. And that's also why we host, my friend and I, Sasha, we do challenges every 3 months. So a long time ago, when I had to get myself out of debt and I was using my blog, I had to motivate myself. And I would do that through my own challenges. Like, I'm going to do a month of this, do a blog post or whatever it is every day, right? Or something every day, or I'm going to walk 30 minutes every day, whatever it is. And then we just took that and did the same thing for Etsy. So we hold these 30-day challenges. We do them in September, in January, and in April. And then people join us. We do it all together as a group. We also provide some coaching sessions in there, Q&A sessions as well, and some templates. But the idea is you get everyone doing it and taking action. And then you see people taking action in the group. It's a whole group of motivated people. And then you do it. Then they start posting their results. Oh, I got 100 sales this month or this week or whatever it is. It varies by person depending on where they're at. So on Etsy, my sales were slow at first, but generally they've gotten faster and faster over time. So at this point, I'm making on average around $6,000 a month. Some months higher, some months a little bit lower, but that's for the last 12 months.
Yeah, that's amazing. So with you having that many products and what you mentioned a little bit ago with, it's 20 cents, but when you have hundreds of products, that can really add up. Is it pretty easy on the back end to manage that inventory and see what's selling on Etsy, or do you use any other outside platforms to help you stay organized with everything that you have going?
Oh, it's so easy. I don't need any outside platforms. I mean, I do create some of my own spreadsheets and learn that way. But basically, you always have platform costs, no matter what platform you're using. And honestly, Etsy compared to others is relatively low because they have an audience already. And you are therefore not spending on marketing. So you're not spending money on trying to get people to come to your website, which I have my own website and can do that. But it's much more efficient to go through Etsy because you have really no upfront costs. You're not paying any monthly costs. I mean, on Etsy, I think now to join, you have to pay a one-time fee that may vary from like $15 to $29. But aside from that, you're not paying anything else. I have a free Start Your Etsy Shop challenge. And if people take that, and maybe you can include the link on here, but if they do that, they can use my link to get their first 40 listings free. So they're not paying that 20 cents. And then every time you make a sale, then you pay the 20 cents again, but you're only paying it as you're making money. So every time you're paying that, you're making more. So you're adding to your own profit so it doesn't become an issue. And you can see which items never sell. And if they don't sell, like I just leave them. If they sell, they automatically renew. I don't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. Sounds like it's simple and it can be complex, but that's why you have guidance and why you get going. Any new business endeavor, any new side hustle endeavor is going to require a lot more mental energy in the beginning.
That's right.
It sounds like, though, it doesn't matter your level of creativity. There's ways to come into that space and find something that you can sell, just tapping into what your interests are, what your skill set already is, and finding, your own little corner of Etsy to be able to sell and start making some decent money. I love it.
Yeah, it works really well. And you start to learn, you start to see what other people are doing. And then you think, oh, I could do that. And by the way, I do all my graphics on Canva, which is very simple to use. I'm not a graphic designer. I don't do any fancy stuff. I just do stuff that I feel comfortable with. And then, yes, there's a learning curve at the beginning, but it's totally achievable. And then after that, I just personally make it a goal to learn one new thing per month. So I'm just like, that might be like do one new game and then I have a new template, or it might be learning how to use XYZ or how to make this mock-up. But I don't overwhelm myself, because if I did, I would shut down. I can't handle that. And that's just not how I work. But on the flip side, I can't just do the same thing over and over, because then I get bored, right? So it's my way of challenging myself. But like I said, it's only a little bit at a time. I've been doing this 3 years. So whatever, I guess that 36 months, I guess. So learn one more thing per month. Yeah. That's all I do.
That's amazing. That's all. I mean, it depends on your level, your capacity, and what you want to take on as an entrepreneur. But it's good to hear that even in just that incremental growth, learning one new thing each month, time will pass either way. You can become a lot stronger and have a pretty substantial business by the end of a few years. So I love that. We will link to your challenge and everything in the show notes for everybody, for them to check out. Right. Thank you so much, Debbie, for sharing your strategy. I love the unique way that you are selling on Etsy and selling those games, and the way that you can multiply that and just come up with more and more ideas without necessarily having to reinvent the wheel. I love templatized businesses. It's super smart.
Right. Yeah. And the ideas are almost endless. I have 1,000 more ideas I want to do. And every day that goes on, I probably on average come up with 2 or 3 more, and I may only do 1 a day. So having ideas is not a shortage. It was at the beginning. And for that reason, I delayed getting started by 2 years, maybe a year and a half, because I thought that would be a problem, but it is not the problem at all. It is actually simple. You just have to get started and get going and just do it.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much again for sharing everything that you have, all the insights that you have with our audience. I appreciate it, and I hope that they have learned a ton and see Etsy as yet another opportunity in a way that they can monetize. So thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
There you have it, friends. Proof that creativity isn't about artistic talent. It's about solving problems in ways that people want to pay for. Debbie's approach to building her Etsy empire shows us that sometimes the best business opportunities are in the spaces others overlook. Before we go, a huge thank you to our show sponsors who made this episode possible. Your support is amazing and helps us to continue bringing valuable content to entrepreneurs everywhere. My key takeaway today is you don't need to be the most creative person in the room. You just need to be the most consistent at putting your ideas into action. So until next time, take action. Class dismissed.